design decision because that meant we have to do completely new animation skills.
Right.
As opposed to, I throw a fireball underwater and it looks exactly the same as the fireball I throw on the
Right,
land.
but I mean, it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that that, you know, actually makes a big effect for, at least for people like me. I like to see where the environment has an effect.
If we're going to go underwater, we want to make sure it functions that way.
One thing that always bugs me about MMOs is that how much of an effect are we talking, you know, from the player side? Like if they do something, how permanent is it, or is it just temporary where it's like a lot
what
of
we end up,
other games?
what we wanted to avoid is you fight a monster, 5 minutes later someone else is fighting the same
exactly.
monster.
That's
what we do is we end up doing chains in cycles.
Right.
So you're defending against the centaur, village against the centaurs.
Right.
The centaurs win, the centaurs burn the village. Well, that village will stay destroyed until you retake it from the centaurs.
Okay, that's
okay. But if you retake it, okay, now the centaurs are going to start massing again.
Right.
But you can go out and attack the centaur villages first. So we end up with loops. We don't end up with the same thing happening again and again.
But you end up with similar stuff.
We have moves
right.
that affect. So you're not stepping in the same river all the time. It's always water. It's never tapioca.
Are there
but
any?
you are having different encounters.
Right. Are there any plans for like permanent stuff, like, you know, worldwide events that players will have an effect on?
And I think one of the reasons is Rift tried that, and it didn't.
Theirs was never permanent, and I was just like.
It created. I think the idea that something has to happen here and now.
Right.
Basically created some difficulties for them, and if we could address that particular issue, that we would consider it. Permanent changes have a problem in that if you weren't there the day of the permanent change, you missed the boat.
Well, no, I mean like, you know, where the whole world, you know, you have, you know, massive invasion or whatever, you know, that would basically change the environment if you lost, or if you won, then it would pretty much stay well.
We do change the environment.
Right, but yeah, but that was.
But again, it's part of those larger cycles because we don't want to do something that's just going to happen once and nobody else is going to get a chance to have any cake.
But I mean, I guess I can see that, but it's always, for me, it's always been like, you know, this is a permanent change that people had an effect on. So,
right.
Yeah, well, other people won't be able to be part of that event again.
And yeah, see, that's just it. They won't be able to be part of it. Where you can see permanent change is in our dungeons,
right?
In our instance areas, which can be tailored directly for you.
Okay, so there is some kind of stuff like that, but not.
In your home instance, if the orphanage burns down, it stays burned down.
Okay.
But that's in your personal instance. That's not in the greater explorable area.
So there's actually, you know, wide explorable areas versus the instances.
Oh yeah.
Because the first one, I didn't get to play the first one as much as I would have liked, but from what I remember, it was like mostly only ran into people in town.
Yeah.
And that always kind of bugged me because it's like, what about the rest of this?
Well, basically that's just it. We don't have GW1 was had the outpost,
right,
where you ran into it, and once you got between the outposts, things got lonely fast.
Yeah.
Because we have this large explorable area,
right,
you're going to be all encountering people all the time. What we had to solve in order to do that is how you interact with people, how do you avoid griefing, how do you make sure the level is level appropriate. Those were all things we had to answer before, you know.
So you kind of took it in reverse to where there's, you know, outposts per se as instances, and then everything else was the wide world.
Very good. Yes.
I like that a lot more because I play MMOs to play with people.
Yeah,
if I want to play a single player game, I go buy a single player game.